Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bodied, a Cloud9 fancast. I'm your host, Havokpus, and I'm joined with my co-host, Frozencreek.
Hello. How's it going, Havoc?
I'm doing good. Just doing stuff.
Have you been playing any games?
Not really. I did read a bunch of X-Men comics lately, so that was good.
Sounds about right.
Yep. Pretty typical Havoc behavior.
Yeah, I've just been playing a bunch of League and Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Oh, that sounds nice.
I'm on like my 5th or 6th time through, so I think I'm an addict now. Ever since I bought it like a year ago.
You may indeed have a problem.
I don't consider it a problem, just an addiction.
I don't have a problem. You're the problem. Speaking of problems, we got Cloud-Eyed stuff.
There are some problems.
There are some problems.
Some good things though.
Specifically with the VALORANT team, and they need to get their act together because they failed yet another qualifier, falling to T1 in a pretty poor fashion. I hate to say it, but I think there may need to be some changes that actually need to happen. We have some pretty capable players. We have Leaf, we have Zeta, we have Poise, who is everyone marvels at his potential, but then sort of the mainstays with Relics, Mitch, and Vice. I think you kind of have to question maybe like what they're doing and how they're kind of doing things and how we're approaching the game. Vice is our shot caller, but I don't think he's had like shot calling experience before. So, I'm not sure if we should stick with him as the IGL. I'm not sure if we should even, maybe we should move on from Relics, Mitch, or Vice. Because watching them specifically, they seem to just be missing a lot of like aim duels. And they hold an angle that they should be, they should probably get a kill with, but then they just lose it and then die, and that's not ideal. And if you're missing a lot of simple aim duels, I think that's definitely something that needs to be evaluated. And if you should get someone more capable of especially like some things I don't understand is like Zeta's a really good breach, but we're using him to play like Jet a lot, and then like Mitch will play breach, which makes no sense to me. Like, why would you have someone who's really good at breach not play breach when you need a breach? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It could be they're just experimenting with roles and stuff. I don't know. We may have a chance to actually compete at a LAN. I think the second Masters event is actually going to be a LAN event, which is going to be dope. And I think that this Masters tournament or whatever that's coming up, they're going to try to make it like an international event. So it could be that we can actually go to an event, but I with how we've been playing and how we've just been struggling to literally beat teams that are kind of should be in our arena, like to qualify for an event, I'm kind of doubtful. And I think if we don't make changes, or if we don't like get our act together and actually start playing well, I think our mediocrity in the shooter category is still going to kind of continue.
Yeah. So when does all of that qualifying stuff start? Do you know?
I have no idea. I'm never in the know about
eventually trademark.
Eventually trademark, because I never know exactly when stuff takes place, because there's so many qualifiers and there's so many events. Like the Masters is apparently going to be held in Reykjavik along with MSI.
Oh yeah,
so
I heard about that.
Yeah, so between now and when MSI starts, that is when.
Yeah, so I think I heard it was right before.
Yeah. So
sometime soon.
Yeah, sometime soon. Hopefully the team will play better. It's kind of amazing that C9 has now been able to fumble not one but two tactical shooter teams. It's kind of impressive.
And infuriating.
And infuriating. Like we were on top of our game for like what, maybe 6 months, and then we just slowly declined more and more to where we can't compete with like any of the other teams, or there are these really big like CS:GO names transferring over to Valorant because CS:GO is a dead game, and literally we were passing them by because it's like, well, we have Relics and Mitch, and it's like, yeah, well, we could have gotten Automatic maybe, and Automatic can play for us again. So that's kind of a whole thing. But hopefully things get better. But moving on to the London Spitfire, we actually got to see a game frozen. Our boys actually played for the first time, and we got a little bit of an impression of what they're capable of in the Steel Series Invitational against the LA Gladiators. And so they did lose 2-3, but it was a really close 2-3. Like, it was down to the wire. The team actually looked really well. I think the team showed that their dominance in the British Hurricanes was, justified with how well they played. The new players like Shax and Blase actually looked pretty good too. Shax is like a nutty tracer player. And the team looked really great. It actually gets me really excited for like April, when they start actually playing in the Overwatch League, because they didn't look like garbage, and they didn't get 3-0.
Yeah, I had it on, but it was during a bunch of other stuff. I think including our league game too.
Yeah, I did overlap with that.
So I didn't really get to see that much, but I was happy to see us do well and enough. But I think that there was also a lot that was obviously needed to be improved on, and I think that's a good sign going into Overwatch League.
Yeah, I'm not sure how like often how often they've been scrimming together, and like been playing together, especially with they have like Sparker can't play yet because he doesn't meet the age requirement. I'm not sure. We also have Hybrid, who I think is another DPS player. I'm not sure how much they've been playing with him or playing with Shax, and rotating them out and trying to find like a good mixture. This is literally their first match together like as the London Spitfire. But they showed a lot of promise. Everyone was saying, in sort of the Reddit thread, that London looked really good and they actually looked fairly competitive. And they didn't just look like like a last place team, which is great. And I think that's where you want to kind of land. The LA Gladiators is a really good team, I will say. So I think for us to come out with like just a really narrow loss is a really good sign for maybe how we're gonna do in the league. So I'm really looking forward to it. They look great. But I don't have any more on that. So we can move on to League of Legends. There's not a whole lot today. The amateur team did play, or they will be playing, rather, in the Giant Slayer Spring Gauntlet for their second shot at qualifying for Proving Grounds. You mentioned looking at like sort of the makeup of the of the teams, that it looks like a much easier time to maybe snake out a qualifying spot.
Yeah, actually at the time I typed all of this out, the first tournament wasn't quite done yet. I'm not actually sure if it is, but the team actually I think they were at the point where all those teams qualified. They were just playing for rankings. So
yeah, they were just playing for rankings. So like,
yeah, so
like for Proving Grounds, basically you have 100 Thieves Academy, Cloud9 Academy, Dig, FlyQuest, Immortals, Team Liquid, and then you have Solified, which was Zazel's team. It's basically just 4 like LCS players, and then Winston in the jungle. And you had Zeus Gaming, which everyone was actually like kind of blown away by, because outside of Alorum, I've never heard of like any of these players. Everyone was really impressed with Zeus Gaming. You also have like TSM Academy and No Org. So you have, it's mostly Academy players, but you have some nice like like startup little like smaller teams or a bunch of people that mostly no one's really heard of coming together. There are still a few more spots left. There's 4 more spots from the Giant Slayer Gauntlet, and then there is a third event where they have 2 spots left. So if we don't make it through Giant Slayers to get top 4, we still have one more shot. So hopefully the team is prepared enough to get slotted in.
Yeah, and I think the competition's not going to be quite as intense this time around. Now that TSM is through, along with no name.
Solified was Zazel's team. No org which was No Name. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so they're pretty much through. They're just playing the finals either today or tomorrow. I'm not sure which. So I think our thing is set. It should be an interesting tournament, and I feel like we should be able to eventually qualify into the Peruvian grounds just based off what I saw us do in this Grand Prix. So
yeah, I'm hoping so. The competition for us, if anyone's wondering, like we have Golden Guardians and Evil Geniuses Academy. Since they were the 9th and 10th places for the Academy teams. CLG Academy, since they were in the bottom 8 for the Grand Prix, along with Winthrop University and Maryville University. And then you have a bunch of other amateur teams like Barrage Esports, Evil Geniuses Prodigies, which is their amateur team, Revival, Supernova, Wildcard Gaming, and Mirage Esports. I'd say maybe out of the amateur teams, probably the biggest. Of course, the academy teams will, of course, be their own challenge. But I think the biggest would probably be like Supernova, because Supernova has Strompist on their team, who is everyone's heard of Strompist. I can't remember what team he played for, or if he was in.
I guess he didn't show
Was he in a scouting grounds? His name is really familiar,
Yeah.
but I can't remember where he's from.
And Maryville has the Odd Orange, who played in LCS, and they have Evan RL, who's been an ADC college player forever now. I feel like he's been a college player, quote unquote, for 6-7 years now.
Yeah.
The Odd Orange played on Echo Fox first.
Yeah, his name sounds somewhat familiar. Okay, so Strompist,
for a game at least.
So Strompist actually played in Team Gates, which I believe was there. Okay, yeah, they were a challenger team. All way back in like 2016. So he played on them as a on the Team Gates challenger team back when the challenger scene was a thing for like since like November 2016 to April 2017. Then he was on like another challenger team. Then he was on a couple other challenger teams, and then he was on Supernova. Then he was on FlyQuest Academy. Then he's on Supernova again. He keeps like getting on Supernova, leaving Supernova, and then coming back to Supernova. It's pretty funny.
He's like Surenfire almost, I feel like. But Surenfire's in Academy of the Split, so I guess I'm not sure. But yeah, the competition's not going to be quite as high this time around, so hoping those 4 spots are good enough for us.
Yeah. I guess moving on to the LCS, we had some pretty banger games over the weekend.
Yeah, we technically played on Friday night, but it wasn't much of a game.
No.
That was a very quick win.
Oh yeah. Who do we refresh my memory again?
Friday was Golden Guardians.
Saturday right, yeah, Friday. Okay, yeah.
Geniuses, the Press R comp.
Yes, yeah. Okay, it's all coming back to me now. Yeah, the Golden Guardians game, I think no one expected anything less from that. Like that, I think that you could kind of say that was maybe a bit of a trap game, since like we could have just not really practiced, against Golden Guardians, and we could just do something stupid and lose. But we held it together. Our mental fortitude shone through, and
we got the karma atop that game. That was the only.
Oh yeah, I actually
thing that
really liked
happened.
our comp for that. You know, it was really nice to see Fudge something on something other than Gragas, and you know, I think that the team played really well, and you know, we played around sort of this more, I guess it was more of a Blabber oriented comp, you know, because it was more about making sure that Blabber and Perks could do their things. We really like to play dive, so having Karma Shields worked out really well. If I didn't really do anything, because he's just like, well, I guess I'll just push in the way because of Karma, and then the fights break out. It's just like, all right, I'll shield Blabber.
Press R, press E.
Blabber gets kills. Perks did fairly good as Azir. He did have some like shuffles that didn't really land, but you know, I don't think that you necessarily have to land your ult as Azir to really be effective. I think as long as you can sequester people either away from someone or get them to like he did one where he didn't necessarily hit a Blaze Olive, but he did it in such a way that he corralled him basically to Blabber. And I think that's fine, you know, as long as you're able to like use that as sort of a sequestering tool to get a kill. There's nothing really to say about the Golden Guardians game, but the Evil Geniuses game, I think that was that's probably the one that we can definitely talk about a lot because that was super fun.
It was a fun game to watch. I felt like Evil Geniuses came to play too, so it made it more enjoyable.
Yeah, the Evil Geniuses definitely had a really different comp than what we wanted to do. Like ours was literally like we are a 5v5 press R and die kind of deathball comp. And Evil Geniuses was playing much more of a sort of a 1-3-1 kind of split push kind of style, which you know we weren't really able to impact a lot of the map. Like I think for the most part over that watching that game, we were usually, I think consistently for the most part, it was like we were down like just about 2k. And that makes sense with, you know, like we have to like be able to get to that stage where it's like, okay, Gragas, Yasuo, and Malphite, and you know, and Rel in some combination, they have to all be together so they can get a pick and utilize sort of the death ball effect. You know, until then, like especially if Evil Geniuses were just out doing 1-3-1 stuff, like that was going to be really tough to really execute. I think we were really smart to capitalize on Jizuke's like overextensions in the side lanes, because there was just parts where he was just like literally out of mana. He was pushed up way too far in like top lane or bottom lane. Then we would kill him, and it's like, what are you doing? Why are you out there, Jizuke? You had no business being here.
He kind of turned it off his brain a little bit. I'm like the first big time he got caught out. It was like right before Baron 2, so
yeah,
or right before Baron spawned, and Kaisa Yasuo can kill it pretty quick.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If Malphite tanks it, so like kind of bizarre. Blabber got our first 5 kills. I'm kind of surprised he didn't build a Magi's for
yeah, you think with how like far ahead he was like I think at one point he was like 5-0, wasn't he? Like 4-0, 5-0. It could just be that like jungle itemization, especially with how the jungle role was kind of nerfed from camp experience. You can't really afford to go for like a luxury item like Magi's, and he just needed to go his build. I was really glad he bought out the Gragas though, because you know Gragas is one of like his pocket picks where he's like, he will literally kill you and your family on, and he was just slaughtering them left and right. So that was really fun to see. It's always fun to see him bringing out the Gragas. I was kind of expecting Perks to get more kills, but Perks is really more of just you know, like a sidekick to Blabber and Sven.
Yeah,
you know,
and it was like Malphite would ult in, or Blabber would ult in, and then Kaisa or Yasuo presses art, hurts all of them. Kaisa ults in and kills them.
Yeah, and she just Perks would like do all of the hard work of like, okay, I got them really low.
I mean,
and then
he just pressed R.
Yeah.
That was
I mean, look, that's a lot of hard work. You got to fly into the air. You got to press a button. it's a whole big thing. But then Sven kind of instant transmissions in and just presses Q, and that's enough to just kill them. But
Yeah.
I think how we executed this, especially with going up against more of a macro focused sort of like lane pushing comp, we did really well, and I think we capitalized a lot on Evil Genius's mistakes. And once we kind of snowballed, there's you can't really stop a death ball comp once it gets going. I'm really curious what you thought of Fudge this weekend, because he looked really good on the Karma. He looked really, really good on Malphite, and being able to play sort of the team's sort of initial go button, and really able to he laned against Impact pretty effectively, and once he was able to tank up, he wasn't really able to, he did not die. He went 3-0-10 on this Malphite game. As Camille, he went 5-1-5 against Someday. He's shaping up, at least it looks like each game. He's really improving more and more, not only from a laning perspective, which is something he's really been focusing on, but sort of as a team perspective. And he's really been gelling and proving to be someone that he can really lead kind of the team fights with, and be kind of the team's engager and sort of the backup for if they need to really do something.
Yeah, so I feel like he might be one of the best team fighting top laners in North America, but I've still been a little bit disappointed with his laning.
Mm-hmm.
Both Saturday and Sunday, he was down by 20 CS at some point
Right.
to Someday in Impact, and they weren't even like losing lanes
Mm-hmm.
really. Malphite kind of is, I guess, and Nars ranged, but I'm not sure if it's like a wave management thing, or if he's missing farm for
Mm-hmm.
no reason. But I think he's starting to learn a little bit more from perks, and in picking up side waves a lot better. Because if you look at the end of Saturday, at least, like he was up in farm, I believe, on
On Malphite.
yeah. So and if not, it was like a 5 CS difference.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a big deal, but um, I feel like that's what's been left, or has left more to desire. But I feel like laning's a lot more teachable than with the micro movements and mechanics in team fights.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that, and it could be that C9's sort of game plan is that, and I'm not sure if it's putting up what the picks they're putting him on, or just sort of is more of a general philosophy. I think there maybe Fudge is just saying like, look, you don't have to like, and I think he maybe mentioned this in an interview with Dash. I think it seems like the game plan is all he has to do is really go even or slightly behind. He doesn't have to have a spectacular laning. I know he says he's been in that interview. Also, he said he's been really critical of his laning, and he's been working with Max and Vygar to try to really improve his laning, and he's definitely gotten a lot better since he played in the lockdown tournament. But it seems like that's sort of the game plan, because especially with how you've been playing this week, this week was definitely a jungle mid centric, jungle mid, maybe a bit jungle bot, but mostly jungle mid centric sort of play focus. And I think the past couple of weeks we've maybe played more to the jungle top lane kind of side of things, but it kind of feels like we're letting Fudge kind of have his training wheels taken off. But I definitely agree. He looks to be the most aware and the most skilled when it comes to any kind of like team fight, because he's landing all of his CC. He is peeling when he needs to peel. He's engaging when he needs to engage. He's won a lot of really clutch like 1v1s when he's needed to. Like if Baron is up and we lost like a couple of people, he's there and he's able to stop the Baron or even get a kill out of it. So I think that at least from a fighting perspective, Fudge is really good. And I think that's what we want him for, since we are a really scrappy team, especially when Blabber's primed on something like the Gragas or his Olaf, which we got against 100 Thieves. And I think that was maybe a mistake of theirs, because Blabber
that was
ended up eating him up.
An oversight.
Yeah, I don't know why I guess they forgot just like what Blabber did on Olaf last spring that made it like a permaban champion against him.
Yeah, and Or one last thing on Fudge. There was a big team fight on our red buff side of the jungle against 100 Thieves. It was at like 16 or 15, 16 minutes, and I thought that it was like the perfect encapsulation of Fudge as like a top laner, because he beat Someday to that fight and managed to take down FBI. I'm watching it live. Like Vulcan, quote unquote, got caught at that fight. He comes in, dodges some CC right after Nargo's mini, and then they just pick up two kills. So that was like a big turning point in that game. But Blabber, he earned his second player of the week that game.
Yeah, Blabber was insane this week. I think that, he's showing that he can play more than just, the Udyr. That he was kind of like just kind of first, we were putting him on for a couple weeks where I think he was just playing Udyr, and that was like the only thing he played. But he's pulling out the Hecarim now. He's pulling out Gragas. He's pulling out Olaf, which is what team shouldn't let him do. That's that's just a mistake on their part. I'm really digging our team comp diversity too. The 100 Thieves games, Sven did play Seraphine, and we did kind of do like a Seraphine comp. A little bit, kind of. It wasn't like a hard Seraphine comp. We didn't have like a Lulu top lane or a Seraphine Lulu or a Seraphine Karma or something. So
it was like a Seraphine comp plus
like the engage of a Rakan,
and then like a LeBlanc for BM.
Yeah, but I like that Vulcan's playing these more quick engagers. These things like the Rakan, things like the Rel. He can play, sort of the supportive champions. Like, he looked really good on Lulu. I think he hasn't been able to play Tom Kench or Karma or anything like that. He's looked really good on those. I think when he's played more of the hook sort of skill shot landy kind of champions, I think that's where he's kind of struggled with. But those being his bread and butter, he's looked really good on those. I think Perks is doing exactly what Perks needs to do. You don't have Perks to carry. That's what you have Blabber and Sven for. Perks is really there to support them in getting kills, but really he's more to lane really well and create this lane kingdom of a CS discrepancy against other mid laners. Go to the side waves, manage the side waves really effectively, and then manage the map in the mid and late game, because that's where Perks shines. You have him to be sort of the clutch factor in fighting and when it comes to late game stuff. And Perks has been doing exactly that, and it's kind of what he's kind of been known for and kind of what we need him for. So I think this team's really come together. We're 9-2, I believe, in the standings, and I think
10-2.
10-2, right? Math is hard. Are we in like sole possession of like first place? Okay, we are. We're in sole possession of first place.
We're 10-2. TSM and 100 Thieves are both 8-4.
Yeah, so we have a really wide berth of.
I wouldn't call it wide because of our weekend this weekend.
Let's see, who are we playing? Okay,
we have FlyQuest, Team Liquid, and TSM. I believe in that order.
Yeah, that is a tall order. Friday, March 5th at 8 p.m. Eastern is the FlyQuest game, and then Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern is the TL game, and then 6 on Sunday is the TSM game. I think we can't really we don't have to talk much about the FlyQuest game. I think that's just an open and shut case. FlyQuest have only had a few scant wins, and mostly it seems like they've mostly struggled in the mid and late game. Like early game, FlyQuest will do things to be like, okay, they got a lead, they have an advantage. What are they going to do with it? And then it just kind of falls apart around there to other teams either capitalizing on mistakes or just playing the mid and late game better, to where FlyQuest just gets sort of muscled out of their lead. The TL and the team TSM games are going to be really tough, I think.
Or FlyQuest did beat TSM last week, so
yeah, the other games have been weird. Like you'll see a team that's really strong, like TSM will beat TSM beat Team Liquid, then they'll lose to FlyQuest, or like Immortals will beat Team Liquid, but then just get crushed by like Evil Geniuses or something. Like some of these wins and losses that the teams have had have been really puzzling because it's like, wait, that's not how that's supposed to work. They're supposed to beat you, but then they lose.
Yeah. They've I f- I I feel like they're just falling from consistency. Like Diamondman has grown quite a bit this year. Palafox has been hit or miss, and Licorice hasn't quite been what you would quite expect from him.
Yeah,
So
and I think also this is Jose Dioto's first split in the LCS, so he's competing against a much larger, much tougher jungle pool than he's probably used to from when he was playing in Latin America South. Um, so that's probably a lot of getting used to. I think that in some aspect you really have to kind of commend players like the OCE players, like Fudge, or the Latin American players, who are coming from the regions where there were maybe a big fish in a small pond to a much larger, kind of talent pool, and having to face a lot tougher challenges to kind of try to improve and to be successful and not struggle. So I think that they're trying really hard, and I really commend them for not kind of faltering and not kind of giving up. Especially with Fudge, I think Fudge has shown that he has a lot of talent, and I think he definitely deserves to play in a bigger arena like the LCS. And I'm glad that he's found his spot on Cloud9, and we're able to give him a lot of those tools, because we're really good at developing talent that's there, and I'm glad that we saw that in him.
yeah, and I think it'll be an interesting match, but I think you're right. I don't think it should really be much of a competition.
Yeah, I think that the things to really worry about are probably like Team Liquid and making sure that Core JJ and Tactical don't get anything that can take over the game. Like pretty much what we saw from last time we played against them, and I think some of their recent games, it hasn't really been much about Jensen or well, somewhat to an extent Alfari. It's mostly been Santorin working with Tactical and Core JJ, or Santorin and Core JJ working with Alfari to really get an early lead and then crack open the game by dominating the map and stuff. So I think that don't give them Tom Kench, don't give them Tom Kench Senna, because they're really well at that, and we struggle with playing against Tom Kench a lot of the time. I think just make sure that Santorin isn't on a jungler that can really do a whole lot to really take over the game. And I think that as long as we play our fights well and don't do anything really stupid, we should be able to beat Team Liquid.
Tactical's been really bad these past couple weeks by his standards. So I think that's the main thing I'm going to be looking for.
Mhm.
It seems like every game, do we get a team's best shot each split now, or
Yeah, yeah, that's
each
true.
week
Like
now? So like
they
Eve or
try really hard to beat
Geniuses,
us, and
yeah, like
then
Eve or
outside of those games,
Geniuses the
they're
first
a
week.
lot more flexible.
Yeah, so team Liquid, who hawked out against us,
Yeah, yeah, like
and
Evil
Evil
Geniuses. Yeah,
Geniuses. So I'm I'm curious to see how this is going to look, because I feel like we're the best team, but we do need to beat Team Liquid at some point, because they are going to be on our path to SI and Worlds. So we do need to get some wins over them at some point.
yeah, I agree. I think to really prove that we are the best team, we need to beat Team Liquid. I think at least once in the regular season. It's like that Jesse Pinkman meme where it's like they can't keep getting away with this. So I think that I think that we've especially learned a lot from this season and kind of what we're doing. We're definitely looking like to be experimenting a little bit with our team comps. I think that we should have at least a really good idea of how Team Liquid is playing now, especially with champions and everything recently. So I'm confident that we can at least give it a fight. They've always kind of been our boogeyman. So I'm not sure which way to call it, but I'm hoping that we can play well. The TSM game I'm really more interested in because TSM has been somewhat coin flippy in regards to Spica in the jungle. There have been games where Spica looks really, really good and he's taking over the game and he's really commanding TSM to a really solid, well-earned victory. And other times he is fumbling the ball and he's struggling to really get things kind of together, and the TSM ends up losing. And I think him and Sword Art have been kind of the things that's kind of been happening with, and it's really interesting to kind of see what TSM we're going to get this Sunday.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to what we can do against an inevitable Skarner pick against them, because I don't think Spica is really anything special as a jungler, but he's been playing a lot of Skarner because all you have to do is press R. So
yeah, he's definitely a big meta pick right now because he's tanky and the CC lockdown is oppressive.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how we're gonna play around with that jungle pick, but I hope that we do throw like a curveball at them, like not like a LeBlanc, but like, I don't know, not Yone either, because Perks' Yone scares me. But
You want to see it.
I don't know, Rise again, maybe a Corki or Lucian again.
Yeah,
So,
since Azir is a popular pick, we could just do a Corki Azir matchup. That's always been something that's
or
kind of like
Ziggs.
an even. Yeah, I'm.
Immortals, I think, played Ziggs over the weekend.
Did they win with it?
No.
Oh well. Yeah, I'm
They
most.
played Team Liquid and lost that game, I believe.
I see. Yeah, I think with the TSM game, I think a lot of their power really drives from Power of Evil and his ability to really carry a game. I think if we can put Perks on a really good matchup mid, we can really stunt TSM's power to come alive. And I think that get Power of Evil off anything too strong, allow Perks to get a nice lead going, maybe get him a couple of kills, and then him and Blabber can kind of just goon squad it, because that if we can get that happen, usually we end up winning. So I think that if you take down take down Power of Evil, because Spica isn't really a threat, I don't think. I think Spica is more he's able to do really well when his team is doing really well, but when his team is struggling, he kind of struggles. But I think that Power of Evil, maybe Huni a little bit, maybe the bot lane, but I think mostly just watch out for Power of Evil and make sure that he doesn't get anything too strong.
Yeah, and I think that Perks is better than Power of Evil by quite a bit. So I'm not that concerned. I think our best chance for an L is Team Liquid, but I also be that surprised if we lost to TSM. But I'd be surprised if we lost 2 games this weekend.
Yeah, the Team Liquid TSM games are definitely going to be the hardest. I'm hoping we can at least go 2-1. If we lose to Team Liquid, that's whatever. I really want us to beat Team TSM. The FlyQuest game, I think, is a given. But this weekend's going to be really tough. But I think if we can come out 2-1 or even better if we 3-0, I think it'll definitely kind of cement us as being the best team in the LCS, at least for right now.
I think we did that last week, but I think that this week would be I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right. But if we win one game, then we automatically have a share first after this week. So,
Yeah,
and if
and
we win 2, then first place is ours.
I'm not sure when playoffs lock in for the
Actually,
MSI qualifier.
TSM and 100 Thieves play each other on Saturday, so we can only at worst be tied with one of them for first place this week if we beat FlyQuest.
Yeah, that should be another good game.
Yeah, 100 Thieves, Evil Geniuses on Friday should be good. And then the TSM 100 Thieves game on Saturday are probably the 2 big games this week.
Yeah. Those are going to be really good. We have a lot of really good matchups
But
going into Saturday and Sunday.
to answer your question, next week is the end of like the quote unquote first split.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really excited for the MSI, kind of qualifier tournament and how that's going to shape up, because it's going to be in Iceland, which is dope. We're going to see, it's going to be kind of like our. Hopefully, we will get to go, and it'll be our first international event in a little while. And I really want to see how we shape up to international talent. If we can qualify. So it's still kind of a rough road ahead. I don't want to say anything's a lock in for sure. But I think that right now we just need to take down the the big dogs and make sure that we're in a good spot in the standings and keep practicing so we can, get to the top.
Yeah. So after next week, we'll have the mid-season showdown, which is like see who goes to MSI. That'll be 2 or 3 weeks long, I believe. March 20th to April 11th. All we have to do is win 3 best of 5s, I believe.
Easy peasy.
And then it doesn't actually say when MSI is, but it's sometime in between April 11th and June 4th, because that's the break in between the mid-season showdown and the quote unquote summer split.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a long ways away that we're
Yeah.
going to be without Pro League. So there'll be like what, a month? Oh, that's a long MSI too. Oh well, I'll make it through. I always do.
We do what we can to survive. But I don't have anything else. So I guess that's it.
Yeah, I have to go throw away a spider I just killed. So.
Oh, nice. So, thanks for listening to Bodied. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at C9Bodied, and we'll see you again next time.
Yep. See you guys next time.
Oh, bye-bye.
Bye.